Good morning, listeners. You can find us every Wednesday morning on Spotify and YouTube. Make sure to give us a like and subscribe to be notified on new episodes. All right. Welcome back to another week of Scrambling Dads, guys. How we doing?
We're battling. We're battling over here.
We're battling. Had some technological.
We got some toddler
week,
issues
guys.
here.
Oh, toddler issues. Well, look, I want to hear about toddler issues, but guys, we need to talk. I got some urgent news. May or may not relate to the text I sent earlier today.
God, please,
my God,
please.
He did.
Just no, I really didn't. I wanted to. Wanted to really, really bad. I didn't. This is the old one. I thought about it. I rolled it. So for those of you not watching,
also for those who can't see, yeah,
for those of you that can't see, the Lab Oz came out with the HS, which is a heel shaft putter, and as we've talked about, I am a Lab guy. It has changed my putting game. I love it. I happened to be coming home from work early today because, as Mike and I were talking before the podcast started, got some work going on at the house with irrigation leaks and water heater leaks. So came back early during lunch, stopped off PGA because I was like, hey, I want to see if they have it. I want to roll it. I rolled 5 putts and not short putts. Like I putted across the putting green and made 4 or 5 with that heel shaft. And I was like, oh, it felt good. It felt like my eye was actually a little more over the ball. And the funny thing is, I think the shaft position is the same. So if you're looking down and if you were to connect the line where it necks down to the center of the club, it's in line with the center shaft. It just necks down. And my buddy Colin has a putter made by Machine that they're based out of here in Dallas. It's a custom putter group. He has a putter like that where it looks like it's center shafted, but then it kind of curves down and connects at the heel. And I've always loved the look of it. So I'm like, okay, well, you kind of get the benefit of the center shaft, the alignment, but it's not. And as you can see, I have head covers that I can't use right now because I have a center shaft putter. So part of me really wants to go get the heel shaft putter because I roll it the same and I like it better. It felt like it set up a little bit better and I can use my head covers again. So Alex logic right there.
Yes, I literally was going to say you can use a different head cover, one that you really like and decorate with. You're starting to sound like me now with equipment.
Yeah.
You guys tinker more than I do, and I get it for almost free.
Like maybe that's the problem.
Okay, look, I have said that Lab is not going anywhere. And I feel like I put that out in the universe and Lab said, okay, bet I'm going to make you a putter that you're going to have to go get. And now I'm going to have to go get it.
So I have a question back to point. Do you think mentally it is where we're at, Alex, is different where Mike's at because he gets the stuff for free, but he also has access to it easier. So he can just piddle around with all the different ones. And maybe our mindsets are different. If we were in the industry, we'd probably be less likely to tinker.
No, I feel like I'd be more likely to tinker. If I were able to get free stuff or stuff at the discount Mike gets, I would change my bag every year.
So I mean, that's not abnormal, but I also think for me specifically, because I have access to all the shafts and stuff and I have a TrackMan, you figure out what really works and like what kind of works. And so like, if you want to tinker, there's only like 1 or 2 options to like tinker with. But like realistically, again, because I have all the stuff and all the data, it's like I know which one performs the best all the time. So it's
see, and I agree.
When, like new stuff comes out,
and I agree with that logic because I talked to my wife briefly because I was telling her about the new putter. The only thing I don't like about the Lab is that it's center shafted. I've never liked the center shafted. I am the kind of person that I'm brand agnostic. I don't care as long as it benefits my game. So it's like if it has to perform the same, if not better, for me to want to make a change and for me to say, oh, well, it performs the same, but I feel more comfortable with it because the eye lines are better because I've never really loved the center shaft. It's like, okay, maybe I'll do that. So Jason, to answer your question, I don't know. I don't think I would tinker anymore. I definitely think I would have a lot more data, which, I mean,
I don't think you could tinker anymore.
That's my point. Yeah, I think once you get the data, you're like, why would I change?
Yeah,
That's my point. It's like I have all the data. If I'm going to change, it's going to be because something new comes out.
yeah. No, I agree with that. Maybe that's the point. Yeah, maybe I need a TrackMan. Maybe that's my next purchase.
Take a second mortgage off of that.
You know, you could just get on a plane and come hang out down here for
Hey.
I don't know, like 4 hours, and then go home.
Probably not that expensive of a flight either. So, no.
It's direct.
On Real Club
Direct too.
News, and I posted it on TikTok, so most people have seen. But I did get my clubs in, and they look pretty. pretty little Shrixons here, dude. I love them. We'll talk about my rounds here in a second, Mike. Just for you, nice little bladey.
Doesn't do it for
action.
me, bud.
Love them. So if we get into, we'll dive straight into the rounds and talk about this. So I played Thursday, and that was a vendor workaround, kind of. Let me rephrase that. It was a workaround, but I knew the people. One of them is someone that we worked with for, and another is just a really good friend, childhood friend of mine. He's the one that was buying my ZX7, my old ZX7s. Dude, I warmed up, and this is not my first round with these clubs. I played with my ZX7s. I warmed up, was hitting the ball great, driving the ball great, I've been battling some swing stuff, but I kind of figured it out. And I played the first 6 holes 3 over. And that included on hole 2, I was dumb. I grabbed my driver instead of my mini driver. And it's like a 315-yard hole. I was like, okay, it's slight down. It was really wet because it had rained a few days before or the day before. So the ball wasn't going to roll. It was going to stop. Anyways, I hit my driver thinking I might be able to drive this green. I ended up duck hooking it out of bounds like I knew I probably would. I don't hit my driver for that reason. So re-teed up and down, or got up 2 putted. So that was a double bogey, but it was a par if I just played the mini driver like I should have. So then I just had a random bogey, I think on the 6th hole or something like that. So 3 over 6.
Before we dive deeper there, like what's your thought process when you look back and you say that should have been mini? Like 9 times out of 10, that's mini. How do you then not make that mistake again?
Don't be stupid. And we'll talk somewhat about the mental side of this round specifically. But to not make that decision again, I just need to take all the factors in. It's like I said, it has an upslope apron on this hole. It had rained the day before. Like my drive on the first hole, I hit mini and my ball literally was 2 inches away from where it hit the ground. That's how soft the ground was. Like it didn't roll. It didn't move. So if I take everything into perspective, like I'm not going to carry 315. Like my driver's probably about a 3 to 305 carry. And when I say it's a light downwind, like I'm talking like 5 miles an hour. Like I'm not getting an extra 10 yards of carry on 5 miles an hour. So I think I needed in that moment, I should have just been smart. I'm hitting the mini well. I parred the first hole. It was a easy par. I was hitting my mini great on the range and my driver was So it was just a really dumb game decision because of what we were doing. And I'll talk about that on the mental side a little bit. Anyways, it went downhill from there. I finished the round. I shot a 93 and I completely lost it. Lost my swing. And 90% of that is mental, right? So these guys I play with, childhood best friend, and I love them to death. But there's always those people, like we vibe well and we have fun together. Like it's always a fun round. But like I've put so much work in, and there's some of the guys I talk to the most about my game, and I only play with them maybe 2 times a year because we just don't live close to each other. So they wanted to do a Alex versus them 2 best ball. So we were playing competitively somewhat. And when I started not doing well, I started putting even more pressure on myself. And every shot seemed to have more and more weight to it from a mental perspective. And my mental game just went downhill fast. And it was terrible. And think I might have parred one hole on the back nine. And it was not putting, it was tee to green. I just could not get to the green. And it seemed like I was getting a bad bounce every which way. So that's how my round on Thursday went. It was a very poor mental day for me. I hate to say that. I wish I could have held it together, but I think a lot of it's just I put way too much pressure on myself to be the scratch golfer that I know I am in front of these guys that, I talk to all the time, but they only see me twice a year. So
Interesting. I know you talked about it, and then you also like your shoulder, you're like feeling it in the shoulder, your body was just not timing right. And all the stuff you were describing is like kind of how I've been just not transitioning the weight properly and just getting to upper body.
yeah, it got to a point that you're playing golf swing, not golf. And I was criticizing every little thing. I was like, oh no, I didn't move my hands first there. Oh, I'm not releasing the club there. Oh, and we've talked about this, trying to be positive mindset. And I was the opposite. Like I was focusing on everything I did wrong on every shot instead of taking away the little wins. So it was, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why that round specifically outside of the reasons I've already given, but it was not my best showing. It just shows you a scratch golfer can shoot a 93 in any given day.
I think I teased you with that. I think you still had that. You had a little, probably a seed in your brain about your new irons coming.
I mean, there's definitely that. I will say, because in the past few months, I've had a couple good rounds with the old irons. And in my head, I was like, am I making the right decision? After that round, I took them immediately out of my bag and tossed them in the back of his trunk and said, good riddance. It's like, I'm making the right decision. This proves it. So that was that round. And Mike, that goes full circle to what you're asking me. How do you make better decisions? I was trying to make hero shots way too much instead of just playing my game. And that's where I need to be smarter and say, okay, 315-yard par, par 4, I can take my mini driver. I can go 2-iron. Either one, put it in the fairway, hit on, my wedges are working for me. Cool, we move on. Either way, it's a 80 to 100-yard shot in. Awesome. Like I don't need a 30-yard chip.
Yeah, I mean, on a hole like that, if it's 315, you could go 6-iron, 8-iron.
Yeah,
like
there's 100 ways you can skin that cat.
Yeah, I think it's not so much the decision of like driver mini. I think it's a decision of to like in a round like that where you're excited to play with your buddies when you're like you get caught up in the moment is how do you get from I should just hit driver into like, wait a second, let's take a step back. It's 315. I can't drive it. So a 30-yard chip is the worst thing possible. Hit something where I have a full wedge. Let's get to 100. Great. Do the math. Cool. Let's hit 4-iron, whatever that number is. I think it's really hard to do that in a setting like that, just because you get kind of the wheels start to spin and you're vibing, you're having those things. And I think it's something that I learned a bunch from playing in that tournament is like you have to, once you get into your process, you've got to like get into your process and like, okay, great. I want to hit it here. I want to take a deep breath. I want to be aggressive to this conservative target. Like, I think I haven't played golf since then, so I don't know if this is really going to work or not, but it's like keep each shot in its own little bubble and have a process for every shot. Right? Because like maybe that driver, all of a sudden you make par there, you're 1 over through 6. And now it's like, all right, cool. I've got a decent round going. And then maybe whatever happened doesn't happen. Maybe you have a feel, you find a feel, or you get into a good rhythm, but you won't know until next time.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it goes back to what we talked about last week and what you just said of being present, right? It's put the bubble on, focus on that shot, be present. Because I'll tell you, like the next hole, I kind of did recalibrate and reset myself, and it was a par 5, lake on the left, trees on the right, and it kind of bellies in your landing area, but at like I'm gonna say 290 to 315, it necks in, probably half the fairway width. And I had a draw with my mini driver. So I was cognizant enough at that moment to say, even if I hit a perfect mini driver at 300 and call it 300 yards, because I'll usually fly about 290 with that, I'm still going to have, 240 in. So is it really worth it to risk hitting one in the water on an overdraw or even flaring one right? And instead I hit a 4-iron and said, okay, let's be smart here. Let's hit a good 4-iron. And maybe I can go mini driver off the deck and go for the screen, because it's a pretty open attack on the green if I hit a good 4-iron. And I didn't end up doing that. I ended up laying up and I parred the hole that way. But to your point, I kind of recalibrated. I was like, okay, let's be smart here. Let's think through this. But I think the problem was I parred the first hole. They birdied the first hole. So I'm like, okay, I need to try to par or birdie this hole. And then it got to, by the time I was +3 through 6, but they were 1 under through 6. So through 6 holes, I'm already down 4. So my head went to, shit, I got 12 holes and I got to start making up strokes. And these guys are playing half decent. So what am I going to do?
Start pressing, you start squeezing it, ball starts going both ways. We start rolling downhill.
And that's exactly what happened. And I just never was able to pull it back. So that was my Thursday round, and I was glad to be done with it. I don't say often on the 18th hole, like, thank God we're done. Like, normally I'm ready to go another 9, but Friday was totally different. Played Fields Ranch, had the new clubs, and I went and picked them up from my buddy's house early afternoon, and I hit a few in the garage. I just got my 8-iron, hit a few, and man, pured them. Just, they felt good off the face. I don't even know what they did because they traveled 6 feet and hit a net, but I felt like center face. The shaft timed up perfect. So when I got there, I hit the range, and ball flight was great. A little different ball flight, and we'll talk a little bit about this because I'm working with the coach on Friday, but a little different ball flight. I started getting, they weren't drawing as much. So I don't know from a fitter perspective, is that because the shaft is loading different, maybe. But I was hitting a little more straight and even fades, which was kind of nice. But I shot 4 over on Saturday or on Friday, shot 76, and yardages weren't really an issue. I mean, I think I'm actually going farther, which is a little shocking. I think I picked up about 5 yards on my 9-iron, because there was one hole specific that it was 175 to the pin, and my 9-iron's about a 165, my old one. But I didn't want to go long, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna hit my 9. We'll see what happens. And I saw a pitch mark, and it was about 5 yards short of the pin. So I think I actually picked up a little distance. But I hit one true bad shot. I mean, I definitely had balls that didn't go where I wanted them to, but like I had one true miss hit with those irons all day.
Was it the pitching wedge?
No, it was a 5-iron. It was hole 18. Had a great drive down the right side. It's a par 5. And at this point, I'm thinking, cool, I can reach this green in 2. I can maybe get a birdie. I can maybe get out of here 3 over. And anyways, I just kind of, I thinned a 5-iron, and it ended up being fine. It was in the fairway, but it is what it is.
Two quick things there. One is, it seems like your bad shots start to sneak in when you start counting. When you start saying, all right, I'm down 4, or you know what, I can make this if I just hit this really well. In a vacuum, correct. Man. In a vacuum.
I know. I need to be more present. But from a mental perspective, when we talk mental perspective, so one of the guys I played with on Friday, good friend of ours. The other guy is another friend of mine, lives out in Fort Worth. Met him through my wife. The girls are high school friends. So we went and played, and man, he texted me the next day and he was like, I played a lot of golf this year, and that was the most fun I've had in a round. Like, we had music going, we had drinks going. It was just a really low key round, and it was a lot of just like Marcus and I were riding together. It was just a lot of hype, man. Like, we're building each other up the entire time, and I am starting to realize that I need those people. Like, if I go play in a mid-am qualifier where I have a caddy, like, I want someone that's just going to hype me up the whole time, because I've realized in that round that's what I need, because I played amazing. I didn't think about anything. I was hitting all the shots I wanted to hit. My drives were good. But I was just staying present, and half the time I was talking up until like the split second before I drew back to hit a ball. because we were just having fun listening to music. So it was just totally different mental rounds for me, and that put a lot in perspective.
Sounds like you'll do great on the live tour.
Maybe.
Other thing was ball flight, right? So you said before they're not drawing as much. You're hitting them straighter, if not a little fade. What's the height look like?
In comparison to old flight, I'm going to say peak height's probably similar, but it was more of a riser action, if that makes sense. Like I almost felt like I was getting a lower launch, but it would ride up, not in a bad way, not like spinny ride up, but almost a more penetrating ball flight.
I mean, it's for sure the characteristics of the shaft going from what you had to what you're in. I would expect it to come out a little higher and spin more. And so that's probably what you're seeing is it's coming out and it has enough spin to stay up or fall right as opposed to falling left. Would be my guess. You'll know when you get on a launch monitor, but I wouldn't be surprised if you picked up a little bit of spin, a little bit of peak height, and you can kind of just release it a little bit better because it's not going to go as left as what you had.
Well, all of those things other than peak height were things that I needed. I wanted more spin out of my clubs, and I wanted more workability, which comes with being able to release the club, which I couldn't do. The height I didn't care for. I don't need more height, but yeah, I'm with you. I'm interested to see what my data says from my last gapping session to this one. So those are my 2 rounds. Getting into the the mental side of it, I was kind of thinking, and I've loved doing this podcast because I've become a old person when it comes to introspection. I just feel like I drive for 2 hours a day and I just think and I listen to podcasts. Shocking, a podcaster likes listening to podcasts. And I heard something in another podcast, and it said trauma isn't adhesive. If you've been through it, people and things stick to you. And I wanted to get y'all's opinions on that because it relates to, I mean, you can have good, I don't want to say good trauma, but let's change that to life events. So that same hole that I took driver on, last time I played this course, I did almost drive the green. I put it to literally 5 yards off the green. So that played into my mindset when I was like, last time I almost drove this green, like Alex is perfect. Of course, I'm not going to mishit this. And then I do mishit it. But that kind of, those life experiences have depth and weight, and they kind of carry with us. And that carries into marriage and relationships and kids and what our triggers are. So I guess wanted to get y'all's opinions on Mike, you said that you're having trouble with the kid right now, or when we first started this. How do our traumas impact our day-to-day relationships, and how do we project those onto other people?
Yeah. I think for me, I think I have a little bit easier time because it's going to sound way worse than it really is, but like we don't have friends that we see, right? Like all of our interactions with our friends are like on the phone or FaceTime or through text just because of where we live and our lifestyle. And so I think it's hard for me to put my trauma on like other people because really it's just my wife and I. So, I mean, maybe I put it on her and she puts it on me, but I think it's a little different because like the interactions that I have with people in my daily life, like face to face, I probably won't ever see again. So it's like I don't have reoccurring relationships other than obviously my wife and daughter, but like the teachers at her daycare, I will see them the second most that I see anybody outside my house except for my wife and daughter, right? So it's like my day-to-day interactions are super transactional unless I'm traveling or I'm on a trip or like we're on a vacation. So I think it's a little different because I feel like we're like in our little bubble because like talking about like going to play golf with like your childhood buddies or like people that you've hung out with. Like when I go do that, I'm on a trip. And so it's like it's everybody's trip. It's not just like, hey, we're skipping work on Friday. So I think it's a little different on how like I interact with people on a day-to-day basis.
I'm in a different position because, I mean, I've had definitely personal ups and downs throughout my whole life. And then probably my most intense life altering issues happened around my birthday. Like when I was a little kid, like growing up, there was like major medical emergencies or deaths in the family. And, as a kid, you're just like, wait a minute. And these are close relatives. And so that starts to rub on you, not maybe at the moment. And then, being in an educational role, now what I've gone through, I've got to take a step back and breathe and just maybe just kind of put in the back of my mind, if this kid's changed, you know, is there a life trauma that affected them? And so kind of have to open like a bridge of communication and kind of relate more to them, or just maybe can empathize or sympathize with them, just figuring out what's happening. Because you can see a change from these students, and just having that understanding helps me. And then relating to the family, there's things that sit there and just like, gosh, I know that's triggered me, and I need to take a step back and breathe before I interact like with Miles. Like, he's 18 months old and he behaves different than my older girls. And it's like, okay, wait a minute. He's different. He's got a different personality. Okay, let's breathe, use my experience, and try to rein in on that. And, that does translate to the golf course. You know, when I'm playing with complete strangers, and usually like in California, playing a new course, any of those ones I've been familiar with, I will play more of the managing strategic type and not try to be aggressive and say, oh, I know I can do this, but I don't know this place. I don't know these people. So I'm going to play a little bit smarter, a little bit more efficiently. And, lo and behold, it's usually the better rounds I shoot. But then, Alex and I get together, we're having fun. It's like, I'm doing stuff I probably wouldn't do, like if I was by myself or with strangers.
Yeah, no, I agree. I guess for me, and why I kind of thought about this was we've talked about some of the life experiences that we've had, mental health episode. So like in my personal life, and it's translated to work too, I minimalize a lot, because like someone will bring an issue to me, and I'm like, and they'll act like the sky is falling, and I'm sitting here like, it's not that bad. I said it in the mental health episode. It's your worst day is your worst day, and if someone hasn't had that bad of a day before, then they think the sky's falling. And so I'm really bad about minimalizing, and I've had that issue, with how I treat the kids. Casey will get on to me because I constantly invalidate the kids, and she's not wrong. So I have to work through that. And then it relates to work, kind of doing the same thing. Like, I'm really working on, now that I'm training a team and I have, a handful of people that report to me, and I'm trying to grow them as project managers. It's a lot of counselor. I've realized it's a lot of counseling, and I take a lot of calls for people just to vent. So I'm working on that. But it all relates, we tie it back to golf, negative and positive. You have those memories that there's courses that you love to go play because I played well there, or maybe it's because, Mike, you took Katie to go play and y'all had a great time, and that's a good memory for you. So now when you go back to that course, you're automatically in a good mindset. Or you go to a course that you have a ton of scar tissue on, and you're immediately like, oh gosh, how am I going to play this hole? This is what I did last time. And you're focusing on that negative, and it's because those experiences have depth and weight to them, and that carries on in us. And I just thought that was an interesting tie to both, the personal growth side, our emotions, how we project with others, but golf. I mean, some golfers play really good on some courses and really bad on others, because they just have the personal trauma one way or the other.
Yeah. It's funny. You mentioned how pro golfers pick particular golf courses. If you think about it, Tiger Woods, he only cycled through the same courses every time except for major venues. So, he only played courses that he knew would set up perfectly for him.
Am I wrong in saying that he never won at Riviera?
Nope, you're not wrong.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought, which is funny. You would think that a guy like Tiger, who's won on every course imaginable, you think, but he's never won a Riviera.
I think he's been close in a couple tournaments, but yeah, he's never won. And I think that's one that he would want to get, but it's not
Absolutely.
likely to ever happen.
Yeah, staple course. Well, he'd have to play in the Genesis to make that happen. Oh, aren't they playing PGA or US Open there soon? I thought they were doing a major there soon.
No, I think they're playing the Walker Cup there, or like one of the women's majors are there. I don't think it's a men's major.
Oh, I guess sworn they were doing a men's major.
think you and I talked about it like a few weeks ago, and you pulled up the list, and it was like every 5 courses, and it just repeats.
Pretty much, yeah. There's one placeholder for like a rotational course, but yeah, it's like the same 4 courses, and then there's a 5th that they randomly throw in there every 5 years. Well, yeah. I mean, that's interesting. I didn't even realize that for some reason that popped in my head that he hasn't won at Riviera. But
The Olympics. Riviera's getting the Olympics.
thank you. I knew it was something. Let's talk other golf news though. We have 2 things, so y'all can pick which one you want to talk about first. We talked about gear earlier, so of course we got to talk about the Golf Spy ball testing, which is all up Mike's alley with fitting, and that was one of the big things he said on fitting was pick a ball. And we got the Ryder Cup automatic picks, and I want to get some reactions here. So I don't care which one we go first, but we got to do both.
Let's do Ryder Cup because that happened like 7 hours ago.
Yeah, very fresh.
Yeah,
all right,
it's super fresh.
Initial reactions on a scale of 1 to 10. Do we like them?
Well, before that, I just want to go through the team really quick just to make sure.
I need a
refresher.
I have the list, but I don't remember who was, except for Scheffler and Schauffele and I think Spawn. Like, I don't know who are the automatics.
So
the top 6 are automatic.
Yeah,
it's Scheffler, Spawn, Schauffele, Russ Henley, Harris English, and Bryson are locked in. They were the top 6. And then it's 6 captains picks.
And those 6 captain picks are, Mike?
It was Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, Ben Griffin. So 7, 8, 9 in the standings. And then it's Cam Young, Patrick Cantlay, Sam Burns. So 14, 15, and 16 in the Ryder Cup rankings. So Keegan doesn't pick himself, skips over Mav McNeely at 10, Brian Harmon at 12, and Andrew Novak at 13 to pick Young, Cantlay, and Burns at 14, 15, 16.
So I want to talk Keegan real quick. Obvious topic to talk about because he's captain and could have been the first playing captain since Arnold Palmer. How do you not pick yourself? And I appreciated what he said. He was chosen by the committee to perform a job. I completely get that perspective, but I'm looking at his results just over the 2025 season. So then this is a 2-year cycle. So we're not even looking at 24 results. But in 2025, he has 7 top 10s and a victory. That's a pretty good resume. It shows he's playing good form, especially when after his victory, he was T41, T30, cut T44. But the BMW Championship, the only reason I say the BMW Championship, T17. Those are the top players in the world. The Tour Championship, T7 against the 30 best players this year. I mean, that's a pretty good resume. And even some of his other top 10s, Arnold Palmer Invitational, that's an elevated event. The Sony Open in Hawaii. You have the PGA Championship was a T18 or T8, sorry. The Memorial was a T7. Those are all elevated events.
He's still 11th on the list, right? So it's not like he kicked the door down. He was 10th in 23 when he didn't get picked.
Okay, but he's 11th on the list to Maverick McNeely, which maybe by stats he has more points. Let me phrase that. I'm not saying maybe by stats. By stats he has more points, but from a form perspective, Maverick McNeely, he won 1 tournament this year, but outside of that, has he really ever been in the top sheet? Like, if we go look at his stats,
like Keegan won once, and then hasn't done anything since July.
But Keegan's been the top 10 more often. He's been competing in the big events more than Maverick. And a Brian Harmon and a Novak.
He's the captain, though.
And that's what I'm saying is I can understand his perspective on his duty as captain. I said it 2 weeks ago when I said it's going to be really hard not to pick yourself if you perform well. I feel like he's performed well, and I'm a little shocked he didn't pick himself, especially with Bethpage Black.
I'm on the side of, I could see if he was like 7th or 8th on the list, but being 11th, no, there's no way you do that. I mean, I don't love the Cantlay pick.
Don't love Cantlay. I would have gone Wyndham over Cantlay. Honestly, I would have gone I would have gone Goddard up
No.
over Morikawa.
We're not going to bring Wyndham into this. This is no way.
Wyndham fits well
Talking
from a
about-
passion perspective. He fits
Yeah,
the
so he
team
just
well.
goes in and
He wrecks a locker
breaks
room.
stuff. Yeah, he just
Okay,
breaks
like
stuff.
we all haven't had a temper before.
You almost hit a volunteer with a driver.
No. Whenever I throw a club, I make sure no one's
Fans from a
around.
country club.
Yeah,
I show restraint when I throw a club.
Mhm.
I throw it towards the cart so I don't have to walk.
So,
Yeah.
being in the coaching realm for years and understanding and looking at teams and how you want to pick teams. And, I'm with Mikey. I wouldn't have picked Keegan. I wouldn't have picked myself in the position he's in because the U.S. is terrible in the Ryder Cup, period. We're terrible. And he needs to break the curve.
Only terrible on the road.
Well, you can say
Only
that about
terrible on the
both.
road.
You can say that
we
about
still
both,
have a
though.
major losing record in the Ryder Cup.
Neither team has lost on the road in what, like 15 years or something like that.
We do well in the President's Cup, though.
Medina was the last time a road team won.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's been forever since a road team has won regardless. But pound for pound, Jason, I don't think you're wrong. I don't think we are as good as the European team currently.
No, I mean, if you look at the stats over the years, it was like 7 years or 7 Ryder Cups. Out of that, we won 2, right? So you go way back to Tiger. We're terrible at Ryder Cup. Presidents is a different story.
And you go back to the European team. The auto bids for the European team are, and which mind you, they do 6 and 6 as well. Fleetwood, Hatton, Højgaard, McIntyre, McIlroy, and Rose. That's a hell of a team. Rasmus is probably the only one that doesn't have like a huge resume. So you're not wrong. Pound for pound, we are the underdogs right now.
I mean, I think our automatic 6, they earned it because obviously they're there. I don't like the Cantley pick. I don't know why he's always there. He's just a shrewd. I don't care for him.
I think they picked him because he's best friends with Schauffele and they play well together.
Yeah.
And Schauffele was an automatic bid.
I'm not a fan of the Morikawa Thompson pick either. JT has had too many opportunities and he hasn't stepped up. I like the Sam Burns pick. He's a sleeper.
He didn't do well last Ryder Cup.
No,
but that was also his first Ryder Cup and on the road.
But he's a sleeper, I think. And then Cam Young, I think, was just because he's riding high right now. He's got good momentum. Everything's kind of falling in place for him.
He's also a bomber. So you put
That's
him with
a great course fit.
You put him with Colin Morikawa, who's a good iron striker and approach shots, and that could actually be a decent alt shot team.
So on a Keegan's mental side of it, he probably looked at it as like, hey, what kind of team can I put together with statistically that looks like a good lineup for Beth Page? Because that's the other thing. He's got to look at Beth Page, the longest course or one of the longest that they play, and who's going to match up well with this distance.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing against Harman is he just doesn't have the distance if they're going to play that kind of course setup. I can see not taking Novak as a first timer, but a guy that's won, tough there. But like he almost won 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, but then you start talking about that. Why wouldn't you go grab a Chris Goddard up, who is an absolute bomber of the ball too, and has done really well in the past recent weeks?
Well, he did. He had a hot streak in July, and then that was it. He did the Scottish, the Open, and then whatever was after that, and then that was it. And also, like
his stats here,
if it's a 2-year cycle, like all of his points came in the last like 6 months.
We'll just take the last few tournaments. T 33, 54, 10, 3, 1. So even
you went from most recent to farthest back, right? Because that one was the Scottish. So
correct.
Read them the other way.
Well, if we go just start at the RBC Canadian Open, cut US Open 23, then 26, 21, 1, 3, 10, 54, 33, 10. So
so he had that 1 3-week stretch, and that was it.
Fair. I guess it's recency bias for me because he played well at the Tour Championship, but he hasn't really performed past 5 weeks other than that.
Listen, I think when you look at the American team, I think I feel really good with JT as 7th because he has so much experience. Ben Griffin as a first timer is going to be really good. Colin hasn't played great this year. And then the Cantlay, Burns, Young, like that could go any direction. I think the top 7 are fantastic. I think the bottom 5, it could be a little shaky.
It's like they
And
can
then when you
come
look,
in and light it up or
yeah,
bomb, just
Well,
go down the drain.
you look at the European team, like top 8, like Sepp Straka's 8th. I think he's legitimately like number 5 in the world.
I haven't even looked at the European. Let me pull that up while we're sitting here.
What is Donald's picks? Or
He
not
hasn't
Donald.
picked yet.
So he picks on Monday. But
Yeah,
so the top 6
visiting team gets extra time to pick, right? Or do they always pick after
Possibly.
us?
I don't know. I think no, they always pick after us because they play the BMW is this weekend at Wentworth, and this is their last. They have one more tournament left. But like the guys that haven't qualified: Shane Lowry, Sepp Straka, Ludwig, Hovland, Rom, Hatton.
Ron will probably be there.
Rom's
they're gonna pick
not
Rom.
even. Where is he on the rankings? He's
24th. Yeah, because he hasn't played like the European Tour. He hasn't played any European Tour events, so it's just the majors.
Yeah, but Bryson only plays in majors, and he's an auto bid on our side.
Yeah, he won. He won the U.S. Open last year.
I'm just using your same logic where you're saying he doesn't play anything. Neither does Bryson, and he's so.
Oh yeah, Bryson has.
Yeah. So yeah, you have Lowry, Straka, Oberg, Hovland, Fitzpatrick, Wallace, Dietrich. I don't even know who Marco Peng is.
Dude, if he just took that
Aaron
next
Rye,
log,
Harry Hall, Nikolai Højgaard. Yeah, they are from
that's
7
stacked.
to 20. There's like 2 names I don't know. Like they are stacked.
The consistency within that next group is way better than the consistency of our bottom group.
Well, I think it's safe to say Lowry, Straka, Oberg, Hovland, and Fitzpatrick are probably auto picks from a captain perspective. So really, you're talking about who is the last person.
Well, Rom's going to be on the team.
Yeah, Rom will be on it.
I don't think
take him
Fitzpatrick
over.
is for sure.
I'm
maybe taking Rom over all 7 of those people. Like you just don't leave John Rahm at home.
Well, and it's hard not to grab a Nikolai Højgaard because his brother's playing and put them 2 on a team together and they have built-in chemistry.
Yeah, I think I don't know if Nikolai makes it. I think it's just one Højgaard. I think
is that a rule? You can only have one Højgaard.
I think it's the same team they had in Rome. They just flipped the Højgaards.
I thought they had both Højgaards in Rome.
No, they just had one. Nikolai made the
Nikolai
team
last time.
Yeah, Rasmus didn't. I think I think it's Lowry, Straka, Hovland, Rom, Hatton.
Yeah, you're not wrong, dude. This scares me.
I mean, if it comes down to the absolute length and our long guys can find the short grass, we might have a chance. But if I were to pick right now, I'm going to say Europe's going to walk away with this one.
Dude, but
I'll wait till the official lineup comes out. But if you go straight down that list, I think Europe's just got more consistency.
McIlroy has distance. Straka, Oberg, Hovland, they all have distance.
They all hit it far. They all hit it far.
They all hit it just as far as our guys do. I mean, Cam Young's like the only one that might. Cam and Bryson.
Yeah, but we have better putters like Henley, English.
Justin Rose, man,
better.
Rosie is clutch.
Statistically, they're better. Like Harris is like the top putter on tour right now.
I saw something from, I don't know if it was Kyle Porter or the No Leg Up guys or somebody. It was like Keegan not picking himself, it just puts the pressure on the guys to win it for Keegan as a captain and not as a player. And so he comes out as a win-win. It's like, hey, I picked the best team, but now they have to go play for me anyway. So it's like that plus the New York juice. It's like, I don't think you lose home Ryder Cups in the last 10 years. So I think the U.S. wins it, but
it ain't going to be a blowout, though.
Clutch.
It won't be a blowout.
No, I don't think it'll be a blowout, but we got to wait to see what the Europe's lineup, but I would probably bet on the Europeans right now. Part of it's also, and I've talked to my guys about it, they have a much better team chemistry.
They're a team.
They are a team, and that is a huge edge.
Well, Keegan's trying to do that. The whole team is playing in what tournament is that in? Not this week, but next week?
Not the whole team. Bryson
Yeah,
will not be there because he's not
which
allowed.
is so ridiculous. Like, PGA Tour, put your ego to the side. Like, you're an American organization.
No,
He is an American. Just let him play. One tournament. Give him an exemption for one tournament. Like, there's no reason to not let him play in that one tournament.
there's a lot of reasons. There's like 3 years worth of reasons.
$300 million worth of reason. I get it, and I'm all for the ban, but to me, it's like at some point, put the ego aside and allow the team to all play together for what's hopefully the better good. Like, hopefully we get good team chemistry and we win. Because right now, I don't know who you pair with him. I don't know who this guy talks to on this team. Maybe
You have to
Scheffler
pair him
because
with,
they live in Dallas together.
Maybe.
Him and Cam
did have to
Young
get one
play a
together.
similar golf ball.
Yeah, but you're going to put two bombers together? Like, that doesn't. Why would you do that?
Well,
Our
look
two
at the
longest
rest of the
hitters,
team.
put them together?
It's just like everybody hits it. There's no short guy.
That's not true. Spawn doesn't hit it far.
Spawn hits it farther than you think. He
Harris
won a
English
US
doesn't
Open.
hit it
Like,
far. I know he won US Open, but he didn't win it by hitting it 300 yards.
Again, they hit it farther than you think they hit it. Just because they're not like doesn't come to name. I hope you're Googling driving distance right now.
I am
probably
absolutely
is.
looking at his stats.
I could see Burnsy teaming up with Bryson or Harris and even Ben Griffin because they don't have a lot of history with each other. And I think no drama going on. So I think they could work well together.
Driving distance, all drivers is 292. Average for Spawn.
Hey, he's got the DF putter. It doesn't matter.
He has his overall driving distance is 305, but that's also because he has a longish drive at 403, which is at the truest. I'd have to look at what hole that was on. I'm assuming that's some sort of downhill, kind of like the Century in Hawaii. But yeah, so his average driving distance, all drives, is 292. Outside of that. So, like I said,
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's short, but if we're talking bombers, we only have two of them on our team. We just lost Mike.
Mike just disappeared. No, we keep going. I mean, Scheffler's 300, Young's over 300. Obviously Bryson. Schauffele is sneaky long.
Yeah, he can hit the ball. I think Henley can actually hit the ball decently far. Griffin can hit the ball far.
Is he the one that had the creatine jitters? So yeah, I think you pair up your long guys like with Morikawa or JT or so on, who's got a good short game on those alternate shots. And Scheffler could play with anybody.
Yeah, I think we said that a few weeks ago. Like, his game doesn't really matter too much.
No, I mean, he's
Like,
still
he
put on a
fits in
good
with anyone.
showing at the Tour Championship.
Yeah, and he can hit decently far too. So I don't know. I'm pretty interested to see what the European picks come out as, and then how Keegan puts these teams together.
Okay, so that's the other part. It's like, yeah, you have the team, but then how you match them. That's going to be super critical. There he is. He's coming back.
Yep, lost him, and he's back. We got it all sorted out.
It's official. All right.
All
How about
right.
golf balls?
Yeah, we got Mike back, so let's get into golf balls here.
Before he drops off again.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. That was fun.
It happened. Technology. We said we were having technological issues earlier. Let's talk golf balls, though. I skimmed this, so take it away, Mike. Tell us
Yeah.
what we need to know about golf balls this year.
This is one of my favorite things that this is my favorite thing that My Golf Spy does, and they do it every 2 years. They basically go out to Phoenix, and they have like every single golf ball you can think of, and they use the robots that they have out there, and they just hit golf balls for it's like a week. They hit every golf ball, like 3 different swing speeds, high, medium, and low speeds, driver, iron, wedge, and then like half wedge. So they get a ton of data on this stuff. And I always like to go look and compare the ball I'm playing with the characteristics that I like to see in a ball, and then that always gives me the balls that I want to test for the next year. I use this test to change my golf ball every couple of years when it comes out.
So can I interrupt you real quick? Because you said something there that I want everyone to key in on. You said they do this every 2 years, and you brought this up, how critical a golf ball is. And that was the first thing I read in their entry paragraph is they're moving it to an annual test moving forward because of how important this is. So I just wanted to say that to reiterate. Everything Mike is about to say is extremely important. I mean, you have My Golf Spy, one of the foremost gear experts and forums, moving what's probably a very costly and time consuming experiment to yearly. And if that doesn't show how important this is, then I don't know what does. So I just wanted to set the stage there on everything you're going to say.
Yeah, I think
real quick before I, it's interesting they do all this, but then isn't that rollback supposed to be happening in a year or two?
2030 or 2028.
The rollback for professionals is 28, and then the public is 30. So yeah, plenty of time. And so I'm glad they're doing it every year because most, if not all, companies are on 2-year cycles with their golf balls. So Titleist is on an odd year schedule. So the new Pro V1, Pro V1X came out this year. And so they won't release a new ball until 27. TaylorMade is on the opposite 2-year schedule. So they're on even numbers. And so this test always comes out on an odd year. And so there's always like a couple of brands where they have the previous model ball in the test and then the new one comes out and then you don't have the data for the new ball for a whole another year. And so now that they're moving to every year, they'll have the most current model of every offering in every test, which is super cool for a consumer and a golf nerd. But this is always, like I said, this is how I look to test balls. And I think it's super important for anybody to look. And they have all these amazing data points where you can sort based on your speed. So for me, I'm in the high speed category for driver and for irons. And so that's the first tab I start with. And how I do it is I'm always looking for spin. And so I'll sort this giant chart on ball speed on one axis and spin on the other. And then I'll see where my ball is. And then I'll see the balls that have higher ball speeds and more spin. And then those will be the balls that I initially start with. And then you can kind of click through like 60 balls they test and kind of filter down between, all right, cool. I want a ball that's faster. So ball speed, more yards. I want a faster ball, but I also want something that spins more. And so you can like dial this down and you basically can pare it down as much or as little as you want. And so I always like to take the ball I play and then like 2 options. And then I'll go buy like a sleeve of each if you can find a sleeve. If not, you buy the whole box. So this experiment costs you $100 and you go out and the first thing I do is I'll putt a couple times. Putting's not a huge thing for me. The sound feel off a putter face doesn't determine it for me. It's like chipping. It's like, does it do what I want it to do? Chip shots, like half wedges, and then like if you can test 7 irons with these, you do that. Most of the time you can't because unless you're indoors or like you can't do it on a range. But that's always how I pick my ball for the next year. So I have golf trip in 2 weeks. I'll take my ball to golf trip and then I'll pick a new ball after that.
So I just walk me through. One, you said you click around. Maybe I'm an idiot because I don't see anywhere I click around, so I'm gonna have to have you show me that. But 2, it's sorted out like in high speed, and then you have low spin, mid spin, high spin, great buy, and then ionomer. What does that mean?
It's the cover. So there's different types of covers on a golf ball. There's a Surlyn cover, a urethane cover, and an ionomer cover. It's just a different kind of cover. So like the premium tour balls are all urethane cover. The distance balls are they have a harder cover. Is that what you're looking at?
Well, I'm just looking at I'm reading the report here for high speed results. And it has, your low spin, mid spin, high spin, great buy, the Kirkland performance, and then the ionomer Shrixon X Star Ultra Speed.
It's a mouthful right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I'd just never seen that word, so I was interested.
It's just how they sort them like
fair. Okay.
I want to say it's different kind of of cover.
So where do you click around? Because this is like just a big old.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to follow.
This is it's a very meaty report. So if
Yes.
I'm an amateur, which I am, and we lost Mike again.
We lost him again.
This is gonna be really tough without our expert. Yeah, this is
Okay, so I looked up the ionomer, and it's just a different cover
okay.
that's a little firmer, spins a little less.
So why do they specifically call that out versus just put it in the low spin category?
So it's so weird. So they're describing it as something that reduces the spin to minimize the hooks and slices, but they don't have the longevity as a urethane cover, supposedly.
Interesting.
The less
Sorry.
durable.
We got into the ionomer research since you dropped
Just
off.
kind of like how it's compared to
Yeah.
urethane, at least.
So the biggest thing, so if you're looking at like the homepage of that report, like you can scroll down, there's like a table of contents. And if you just click on like, it's a clickable link, it says the data. It kicks you all the way down to the bottom of the page where you can sort on an XY axis in a graph and see all the balls and all the data points. Yeah.
Okay. Bar chart, scatter plot. Okay.
Yeah. So you can get down
This is
there.
what I want.
Right. And so I always start by just sorting it by, like I said, ball speed and spin. Like I know I want more spin out of a golf ball. And so I'll like pare the chart down where my golf ball is the slowest low spinning ball on the chart. And then I'll look at what's there. And then like I'll change them. I'll change some of the parameters, but keeping those like 4 or 5 balls that are where I want them to be and like pare them down until I get 2.
So you said you sort metric by ball speed first?
Mm-hmm.
So you want the most ball speed and the most spin?
Yes, for me, because anytime you have more ball speed is more distance. So obviously I want to hit it further. But also I know I need more spin. So like it may be different for some people might be different. Like some people might want less spin. Some people might want to hit a higher peak height. For me specifically, that's how I like sort that chart initially. And then you can kind of click through and see like what ball, and like there's some balls I've played, like the Pro V1X is in there, the Chrome Tour X is in there, which I've played both of those before. The big standout for me in the way I sort things was the Z Star Diamond. So that'll be one that I go tinker with and try and see what that does.
So for me, ball speed, the max ball speed is the MaxFly Tour X for a high speed or fast speed driver. Really?
It's a probably cheaper ball too.
And the spin is 2,600, which is not bad.
Yeah. So like what I always like to do is when you find something that stands out, is like you can click a drop down where you can hide all the other balls. So you just like pick your ball that you play with the one that you like intrigues you. And then you can kind of click through and see how they compare. And then if you find one that's better all around the board, so well, maybe I should go buy a sleeve of those and see how it feels.
Yeah, I'm looking more on the mid swing for me, and that MaxFly Tour X is up there towards the top.
Yeah. I mean, it's got a tour win.
It does.
I'm sorting it right now versus
Wait,
the
does it
Pro
have
V.
2? Didn't Ben Griffin win 2?
Yeah, he won the team and then he won one by himself.
So it is, compared to the Pro V1X, it is half a mile an hour faster and spins a little over 100 more. Peak height is lower. Carry is actually like half a yard less. Interesting.
Yeah, there's all kind of little nuggets and tidbits that will make you question what you're seeing on a screen. But it's,
I guess I need to go try the MaxFly Tour X.
yeah, like
It's I'm also looking at that Z Star Diamond is also very interesting with its data where it compares to the others.
It is.
And isn't Strixon also a little less price point than Titleist, the Callaway?
Titleist is the most expensive golf ball. Callaway and TaylorMade kind of stay in the same ballpark. And then Strixon's like $5 less than those.
Dozen balls is 39 for MaxFly.
Yeah, those MaxFlies are 39. If you go to
Dude,
like a store and buy 2, you get them for less than that.
I'm definitely going to go try some MaxFlies.
So
I'm
I think
going to
we
show
need
up
to
to my
have-
next round with
I think we
MaxFlies.
have the little content round on the MaxFly and the Z Star.
Yeah. And so
So what? Good, good.
no, I was gonna say, like I said, when you find at least one or two, you go out to your chipping green, putting green, drop your ball down, drop those two, kind of see what they do, and then take them on the golf course. Right? If you're going out, it's like, all right, cool. I want to go play 18 holes. I'm going to play 9 with this ball and 9 with that ball, and 9 holes gives you a big enough range of like, okay, I'm swinging it the same. This ball's coming out of a different window, or it's going a little bit further, or whatever the box is trying to check. You can tell the difference.
So what other nuggets here as you're looking at it? 'Cause I'm sure you read this in depth because you're a fitter and you're going to talk to people about what maybe they should be playing when you're in fittings. What else do you take away? Because like we said, this is a pretty cumbersome report. So for someone that doesn't have your depth of knowledge or just doesn't have 30 minutes to try to read and research all the stuff it would take to even understand half of this, what are some little tidbits that we can take away?
Golf ball is the most important piece of equipment. Hard stop, period. And people don't give it that. I think that's the biggest thing, is like that's the one thing you hit on every shot, like all the time. Like people finding balls in the woods or buying refurbished stuff, or like that stuff drives me absolutely crazy. Like if I'm in a fitting, it's one of the first questions I ask is, what kind of ball do you play? And the answer is whatever I find, just like blows my mind. Like you're coming to me, you're about to spend, if we're buying a driver, you're going to spend $700. Or if you're buying irons, you're going to spend $1,400. And you're telling me that you don't care what golf ball you play? It's absurd.
Yeah.
Like you just said it yourself. It's a cumbersome report. It's going to take you like 30, 40 minutes. There's all kinds of data. Where else do you see this amount of comprehensive stuff with anything, right? You can get a driver
Yeah.
review done on a YouTube video in 5 minutes. Like I think
Yeah, when you're talking about
that's
60
the
balls,
biggest
like,
thing.
no, this is amazing. I'm glad you sent this over because I mean it has me thinking.
And it covers everybody. It's fast guys, it covers slow, it covers expensive, it covers cheap. Like all of a sudden a Max 5 ball is like, you know what? I kind of think I want to test that. And it's $15 cheaper than your Pro V1X.
Well, yeah, and I think we've talked about it here. Like I'm a longer player, so I don't necessarily care about ball speed. I mean, I do, but half a mile an hour is not going to make a difference for me. But even if I go to the mid iron and I sort for spin, I mean, the Pro V1X is middle of the table. There's so many clubs that spin more, and we've talked about how I want a little more spin. Granted, I haven't tested the new clubs. That's a whole nother conversation. But prior to the old ones were a low spin club, so it's like the Wilson Staff Model X. I would never think to try that ball.
I saw that one too. That one was on my list for like half of my search, and then when I got it pared down, it fell off. But
Yeah, I mean, if I compare it to the Maxfly Tour X, it's 0.3 miles an hour slower, but it spins 400 RPMs more.
yeah, and like these
So it's
are
like,
on a robot in like ideal conditions. So it's like this is one of those things where it's like this is what we would expect to see under like robot conditions. Obviously, the way you deliver things could be different, but this gives you a great idea of what your golf ball does, which you should know what it looks like, what it spins like, what it feels like, compared to something that, hey, I want some more spin, or I want some more peak height, or I could use a little bit more ball speed. You can see what balls or ball like piques your interest the most. Like I said, I always like to pick one or two. I think it gets to a point. I've been following this report for years. Like I've read this report. I can't wait for it to come out. And so like I know again what a Pro V1X does, what a Chrome Tour X does, what a TP5 does. And so it's always nice to like loop in something different to kind of see what's happening.
yeah, no, I'm with you. I've tried the Strixons, I've tried Callaway, I've tried all the big box guys. I am almost for sure going to go get a box of the Wilson Staffs and Max Flies and try them because that is extremely intriguing to me that those seem to perform better than the Pro V1X.
And the things that you're looking for, right? So You can also
Yeah, in the
you can also
specific.
add like compression. You can see how firm it is or something. I think the Wilson
Yeah, that'd be
Staff
my next
X
thing
is
because I
super
do
hard.
care. Yeah, I do care about short game with softness of ball. I know you said you don't as much, but so that's something I would want to look at.
Yeah,
But
compression's
yeah, I mean,
one of those things you can sort it by. Like you can see all that stuff.
Yeah,
Where
I'm
do I
going down the
see?
rabbit hole here. I'm like
Where do I see
messing with the
compression?
scatter plot, and I'm reading this data, switching ball spin, ball speed. I'm like mid iron to driver, seeing where everything falls.
Where are
Like,
y'all seeing compression?
are
It
you in the
should-
scatter plot?
No, I'm in the table data. Do I need to go to the
Go to the
scatter plot?
scatter
Yeah, you go to the scatter. You
In your
can.
X axis,
um,
you can do X axis, and you could choose what you're looking for. So I'm looking at ball speed and spin between mid iron and driver, and just kind of seeing where I currently have my gamers and where the max fly and the diamond or X, even the Z Star XV kind of fall into play. Because I'm typically a little spinny with my driver, so I want to knock it down. And the triple diamond, I do have a one box of that, which I've liked so far, but I wanted to see how it compared to the mid iron range. And again, as we talked about before, I was really spinning with my irons. So the triple diamond and the max fly tour lower that back into that position. The diamond is where it gets a little iffy because it's really high on the mid iron spin.
Yeah, and like the
So-
thing I would look at most is I would look at what it does with your irons more importantly than with driver, because you can always change the settings on your driver. You're not going to really change anything. You can't really change anything on your irons other than loft, like a degree or two. But
So now it'd be more the Z Star XV and the Max Tour Flywood. I would probably give those a try.
yeah, so now you
So
have
this
two balls
shows
to go out and
me-
compare with your gamer.
This shows me that the Wilson Staff and the Max Fly all have a compression of 102, which is the same as the Pro V1X.
Yeah, sure.
So they're the same compression, but the Pro V1X and the Max Fly Tour are right on top of each other. They're both between 67 and 6750, but the Wilson Staff is right under 7100 spin. So significantly more spinny ball, the Wilson Staff. My wife's going to ask me why I'm not downstairs after we get off this podcast, and it's going to be because I'm going to be sitting here playing. Like they've like, all they do
That's
is
why
launch. They've launch angle.
Yeah,
That's
they
why I
have
was silent for a while. You guys were talking because I was researching.
there's like so many things, and like once you set the speed, and like I said, I always kind of, it takes me a second to filter everything out, because if we're looking on an XY axis, I always like my ball to be the bottom left hand corner so I can see what else is, what I'm looking for. Again, I always start with ball speed and spin. So if it's higher ball speed, higher spin, those are the balls that I concentrate on first, and then I change my XY axis to see where those fall compared to mine. And I always like to have my ball the lower left hand quadrant to see what's better, different areas, and then I can pare it down to one or two. And I think Z Star Diamond is the one that I'm going to go try a post golf trip.
So I've tried that one. I've liked it, but never beats out the Pro V1X for me. Wow,
And that's the thing.
This is
It's all super relative to
Interesting.
you, right? So
exactly.
we're all going to have different things we look for, and we all have different gamers that we play now, right? And I think that's the biggest thing is we could conceivably, right? We could all play ZX7s at some form or fashion, right? So at some point we could all have the same club. We would always play the different ball because we're three different golfers. And I think that's where the public golfer, like I tell everybody, it's like play the same ball all year round because you know what it does. And then when something like this comes out, you could say, hey, I think I
Go
want
test
more.
again.
I think I want more spin. Great. So pick the ball you play and then something else. But it's one of the things that it's the most important piece of equipment, and a data set and a test like this, it's giving you the answers to the test. This is one less thing you have to question.
Yeah, you're throwing my mind for a loop, man. The Wilson Staff Model X is a lower launching ball too. Like it is everything that I went to a Pro V1X for. It is beating the Pro V1X.
And that's it's not something I could have told you, been like, hey, I want a better ball than the Pro V1X. I'm like, okay, sure.
Cool.
I'm
Here's
not
100
gonna,
balls. Good
yeah,
luck.
I'm not gonna have data on 59 other ones. But that's the whole point of this thing.
Jeez. Is the Max Fly on? Is it new this year or is it last year's model?
It's the 2025.
Okay, so it is
It's not
the
this
one.
year. So this flows well into kind of the last thing I was going to talk to you about with my gapping session that I'm doing. Like I'm like now I almost want to go get a sleeve of the Wilson staffs before I go do that gapping session, so I can maybe take those with me and try them out while I'm hitting on the TrackMan, because I'll be able to sit there and have direct data on the Pro V1X versus the Wilson staff at least.
Well, two things. We should talk about your gapping session just as a whole, and when are you doing that? So
Friday afternoon after work.
day after tomorrow. So cool. On your lunch break tomorrow, go back to PGA, go buy the heel shafted Oz 1, grab a set of Wilson staffs, and then you have them.
Yeah, I really think I might. I'm going to try it regardless, so I might try to go and get it before that.
I don't think it shouldn't affect your gapping session because it'll have effects. It'll be the same change throughout the bag. One thing I would look for in your gapping session is ball speed progression.
Yeah.
5 miles an hour ball speed between each iron.
So let's back up real quick, because that is one thing we were going to talk about, me doing this gapping session with my clubs. But Mike, you can probably explain what a gapping session is better than I can. I can explain it as an amateur and what I look for, but for those that have never done a gapping session, what is that?
So from a fitting perspective, when someone wants to come in for a gapping session, it's usually to solve one of two problems. It's either a height problem or a distance problem. Usually those are both one and the same. So you come to a gapping session, it's like, hey, I want to make sure my numbers are my numbers, or my 9-iron it doesn't go long enough. Like I have a big gap between 9-iron and 8-iron. And so us as fitters, we use that as, all right, let's get on a launch monitor, and I want you to hit 3 or 4 balls with all your irons. Usually it's an iron thing. That's usually when we see the most action is. Go ahead and hit, 3 or 4 balls with all your irons. And then we can look at ball speed and carry, and then peak height as well. And so you can tell right away from looking at ball data of where you have the gaps, or of what club needs to change. And so we look at ball speed. So ball speed progression is, we like to see 5 miles an hour between each iron, right? So if your 7-iron is 120 ball speed, I want your 6-iron at 125, your 5-iron at 130, your 4-iron at 135. And the moment you don't have 5 miles an hour is the moment where you need to think about changing whatever club that is, right? So in that example, your 7-iron's 120 ball speed. Your 6-iron, you want 125. Your 5-iron's 130. Your 4-iron's also 130. So it's a red flag. 4-iron, something has to change with 4-iron, because we no longer have the ball speed progression. And in that case, we usually don't have the correlating height, and we don't have the correlating carry. So that's the quick way to check if we have a gap, or we need to change a club, go to a bigger model or a hybrid or a fairway wood, depending on where you are on the set.
Yeah, and in my scenario, obviously not getting new clubs, we're going to play with lofts. And they'll obviously check my lives, because I ordered them 2 degrees flat. But we all know how manufacturers are. Sometimes they do it right, sometimes they don't. They could be 1.5. So like my guys have a laser bender, not the manual, where you're checking it. So they've always been spot on. I go to a place in Frisco called Integrity Golf Performance. They're amazing. So a lot of what I'm focused on, to build on what Mike was saying, we'll look at heights and spins, but specifically between I think my 7 and 8 have 5-degree loft difference, because of that's where the combo set marries. So it wouldn't surprise me, especially if I have a little more distance. I don't need to hit a 7-iron 200 yards. I don't want to hit a 7-iron 200 yards. I think it's unnecessary. So depending on the spin and the launch, I'll probably add loft to my 7, because I think my 8's going roughly where I want it to. It should fly about 180 if it's the same as my 9, because my old one was 175. So I'll probably pull my ZXI 7 portion of the club, bend them 1 degree, maybe, degree and a half, maybe 2. I don't know. That's what the fitting or the gapping session is for. Bend those to have higher loft, which should help drive up spin as well, and shorten the distance a little. But I'm intrigued to see where it goes, because I have had a combo set like this, but not as a gearhead and not one that was fit for me. So I'm interested to see how these all marry up, and then just to see the data in general with the X1 shafts, see the peak height, kind of like what we were talking about earlier. And to see if they're built properly, because it looks like the toe is actually a little up. That's the only reason I say the lie. It does feel like they might not have bent them to 2 degree flat, but I'm sure it's just my eye. So we'll do that Friday afternoon. So we'll talk about that next week, and I'll let y'all know how it goes. I'm not touching my clubs this weekend. Outside of that, I'm actually going dove hunting on Monday. So that's my getaway from the family for the weekend. So there's no golf.
What do you do with the doves?
It's like a dark meat.
necklace.
Yeah, you take the breast, you just peel the skin off, take the small little breastplate, and I mean, when I say small, it's like yay big. And you can fry them, or I like bacon wrapped jalapenos with them.
Are
Pretty
you
good.
bow hunting or rifle hunting?
If you can hit a dove in the air with a
Honestly,
bow, that's pretty
dude.
impressive.
I know zero. I know zero.
So,
As much as I know about
So-
fitting is exactly the opposite of how much I know about hunting.
He uses a
See,
spear.
and this is where we start going down the other rabbit hole. So I stopped hunting when I met my wife, because at the time I was still playing wood bat baseball, golfing. I had a motorcycle, and so like between September and deer season that ends in January, like I was gone probably 4 or 5 times. And mind you, I was raising a kid on my own 50% of the time. So like I had 50% of weekends I could just pick up and go. So anyway, she kind of was like, hey, you need to stop going so much. Like we're starting a family, and we have Grace in here more. So I gave up hunting. That was just the easy one to give up. So I'm glad to be going back. But I've never been good with a shotgun, and bird hunting is shotgun hunting. So we'll see. I am really good with a rifle, and I used to bow hunt. Shotguns, for some reason, it's a totally different methodology. Like it's this whole like aim, fire, but continue sweeping. Whereas like a rifle, it's point and shoot. So we'll see. And these birds, I mean, a dove is what, a 6-inch wingspan. I mean, they're not big birds.
Yeah, I have no concept of any of that stuff. So
Yeah, it's small. And I'm not going to say all the things that go into bird hunting, but
How many do you think you'll get?
Well, you limit out at like 12. I think it's the most you can shoot as an individual. I will probably shoot 100 shells and I don't know, hit 2. I'm terrible with a shotgun. I'm only going to have drinks and keep the other people company. Like,
But it's buckshot. How can you hit 2 with buckshot?
dude, I'm terrible with the shotgun. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't hunt either, but
Well,
I've shot guns.
I think that was the nexus of my question. If the bird's only this big and the breast is only this big, if you hit it with a shotgun,
so the pellets inside, well, you're hitting it at range. So by the time it hits the bird, the pellets have spread out. You're hopefully only hitting it with 1, maybe 2 pellets. And there's 13 pellets. I think it's a 7+9 is what I bought. So 16 pellets in there. So hopefully the pellets don't penetrate. But yeah, I mean, if you hit the breastplate, you have to pull the pellets out. Ideally, and this is probably the more inhumane part of it, is like, if you don't hit the breastplate and you wing it and it can't fly anymore, like you save the breast. You also have to like kill it in another way. Family friendly, so I'm not going to say that. Go look it up. But you save the breast that way. But it's a small pellet, ideally, and it doesn't like explode like a bullet does. Like the pellet will just lodge in, or it'll go all the way through. So there'll be a hole in the breastplate, and that's it. But either way, it's 2 pieces of breast, both bite size, yay big, and you wrap it in bacon and put it on a jalapeno, and it tastes great. Or you fry them up.
So you're hunting.
It's dark.
You're hunting for dark meat chicken nuggets.
Yeah, dark meat chicken nuggets.
Cool. That's how
we could sum up the last 10 minutes in one statement: hunting for dark meat chicken nuggets.
Dark meat chicken nuggets. I like it.
Cool.
So
I
that's
mean,
my weekend.
I might go hit some golf balls on Friday. I might play
Way to
on
go.
Friday. I think I'm just gonna go practice. I don't know. No, I'm just gonna go hit balls. I'm getting the car service in the morning. So I'll go grind on the range for a little bit before I pick up the little one from daycare. And then
I think
I guess I kind of have to play next week.
you got to get in before that golf trip. You got to go.
Yeah, I think so. All right. So then I'll end up playing, I think, on Tuesday next week. So before we record the next one, I should have a round in.
Well, good. You got to get that practice in. You can't go without touching your clubs or barely get anything in. So
Yeah, I'm also cutting my driver down tomorrow. So that's fun.
What are you going to?
I normally play my driver at 45 inches. This one's at 45.
You're cutting it down.
Yeah, I'm cutting it down to 45.
The one. Gotcha.
So how do we go an hour and a half on a podcast in which we have talked gear and you bury the lead about the driver shaft now?
Because we got next
You
week.
could have said this an hour ago.
I could have, but I just remembered.
Yeah, we got to carry on next week.
Yeah.
We got to have content.
Yeah.
We got to
Great.
keep this thing rolling.
So next week we're talking about my new putter, new balls, Mike's shaft.
And your boots.
And your boots.
Apparently got to talk about my boots. That's just one of many in the collection.
Yeah. So my life's been very low key the last couple of weeks, and it's probably gonna be low key and again for a whole nother week. I don't got much going on. My back is healing. Chiropractor thinks I might have a slight bulge down in my sciatic area. It's annoying right now more than anything. But there is some weird tingling that's just uncomfortable. In-laws come in this weekend for Shelby's birthday, so I'm out and I am sneaking away to get a tattoo to finish off for Peyton. Yeah, we have a
Nice.
combination. Been 2 years in the making. I just have not gone, so I'll get that taken care of.
All right.
We'll get
so
you back out soon.
We got a tattoo, some chicken nuggets, and a driver shaft for next week. Let's go.
There you go. Tattoo, chicken nuggets, driver shaft.
And tune in for next week, guys. Well, if that is it for this week, a lot of information. Go read the Golf Spy report. If you have any questions, email us and Mike will answer.
Yes.
Because I'm not answering that one. But as always, just, give us a like and listen, Spotify and YouTube. And until next week, guys.
Yep. Until next time, I'm going to bed.
See ya.
See ya.